What is going on, Outfinders? The markets are closed for the week of September the 6th. And oh boy, what a week it was. We had a short trading week. Monday was a holiday, Labor Day. And but we did get a pretty good amount of information, especially around economic jobs type data this week. So we can go through a little bit of that. But starting out the week on Tuesday, we had a nice little gap down to start the week, and we just basically traded down the whole day. It was just kind of unrelenting. Tech just kind of kept getting hit all day. If you want to see how bad really Tuesday was, go look at semiconductors. Semiconductors got hit pretty hard on Tuesday. Nice little gap down there on Wednesday. Traded higher there for the first hour and a half, and then it kind of just started giving it back as the rest of the day kind of went on. Ended off the lows, but definitely not towards the highs either. So Thursday, kind of a flat open, not really doing too much there. First hour traded higher, dropped off pretty good there the second hour or so, and then tried to base out and push higher, but it can never really get the stronger momentum going higher. Just kind of more chopped the rest of the day. As we then go into Friday, a little bit of a higher open there, dropped off pretty hard to start the day, first hour and a half, and it didn't really stop. It kind of just came down for like the next hour and just kind of based out. We kind of just went sideways for basically the second half of the day. Not kind of too much kind of going on, but every day we just kept getting hit, and really it was mostly Tuesday and Friday, a little bit of more choppiness just Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, it was just kind of a brutal week. All right, taking a look at some of the economic data that we got this week. Tuesday, we got some ISM stuff, not really a big deal, but some more important stuff. Wednesday, we got the JOLTS job opening, not something I really care all that much about, but it is something that people in the market watch, so it is something to kind of keep an eye on. And forecast is calling for it to come in at 8.1 million, which was the prior was 7.91 million. We actually wound up dropping to 7.67 million. Pretty good drop there. So not only just a huge variance on forecast, but also just continuing the decline there from prior. Thursday morning, we got initial jobless claims came in at 227K. Forecast is calling for 230K. Prior was 232K. So a little bit better there on initial jobless claims. But then we got to Friday, we got some more job and unemployment data. So we got unemployment rate that came in at 4.2%. Forecast is calling for 4.2%. Prior was 4.3%. It was a pretty good jump last month. So a little bit of a pullback on that somewhat good jump that we had last month. But the big one was probably going to be non-farm payrolls. Now this kind of coincides with JOLTS data, or the data, or the kind of the way the JOLTS data is leaning is we're seeing that reduction on hiring. And non-farm payrolls, the forecast was expected to come in at 160K. So this is how many people are getting hired. So the forecast calling for 160K. The actual came in at 142K. So pretty good miss there as well. All right, take a look at sector rotation throughout the week, and you see tech really lagging behind. Energies also was getting hit pretty good this week. Yeah, XLE there. Materials, industrials, and communications all underperformed. Communications like that, really they were doing pretty good, kind of in line with the market until really that last little hour of the trading day on Friday. Financials outperformed, discretionaries, healthcare outperforming, utilities, real estate, and staples at the higher end of the week's performance. All right, we had a nice little climb on the VIX starting out the week on Tuesday, and then we had a little bit of a pullback, kind of consolidation there, Wednesday, Thursday, and then pretty large lower wick, kind of retesting the moving averages. Looks like the VIX wants to climb again, go back to climbing, kind of how we started out, August. So see how far it goes this time. But yeah, that doesn't look very bullish. DXY dollar index, huge lower wick coming in there on Friday. That's coming on the backs of a pretty good breakdown that we had middle part of the week. So I'll be interested to see kind of what the dollar does this next week, because that little lower wick, we didn't get back down and take out this low from August. So I'll be curious to see kind of what happens in the dollar world early this next week. Gold, GLD. The only thing I'll say is the same thing I've been saying. Just be bullish on any dips. And that's about all I got. It looks pretty good. Still consolidating up here. Not super breakdown look, but could it be, could we have a little drop? Yeah, sure. We could. But I wouldn't be wanting to be bearish. Yields. 10-year yield. Well, we got a breakdown this week. Pretty much every day. Nice little lower wick that's coming in there on Friday. Came and snagged the low from August. I'm not one that thinks yields are going to drop off super drastically. I really am not. And I get it. People talk about economic conditions. If the economy drops, yields will drop. I mean, I get all that relationship, but we've also are at crazy high levels on debt to GDP. And I don't know how people are really going to feel about that when the economy starts to drop off. So here's a look at the 2-year. The 2-year actually did close below that August low. That was one of the things I wanted to look at. So you can see that low. And we did not take out this low from March 2023. So yeah, we are at some levels that maybe we'll see yields kind of stabilize. Even if the 2-year kind of drops below some of these lower wicks, maybe it comes down to like this 3.4 type level. So not crazy far for us to go to kind of get to like maybe the next little pivot level. And taking a look at the 30-year, well, it doesn't look horrible either. I mean, we got a little bit more choppiness, a little bit more longer term. This is going to be a little bit more slower moving as well, even if it's going to break down. So I think we're probably on a lot of these yields. I think we're probably just more in a choppy type of, spot, more sideways movement rather than, strong moves up or strong moves down, like trendy moves. I think we're just probably more in sideways moves. All right, on the live stream Friday, we kind of looked at the yield curve. I was going to be really curious to see how the yield curve, the 10 and 2, was going to close the week. Were we actually going to close the week uninverted? And we did. So we're going to have to really, really, really do some, potential homework research and understand how long after we uninvert from such a long inverted yield curve, about when do we expect some major bearishness? We are trading down from all-time highs, so yeah, I think we got plenty of time. I wouldn't expect major bearishness this next week. We saw some pretty good bearishness this week, so I'm not saying we couldn't be bearish this next week, but yeah, yield curve uninverted, time to possibly get ready, but you got time to do that. HYG, high yield corporate bonds. Well, bonds kind of reversed out there on Friday. Mostly they were all looking somewhat good on Friday, but high yields kind of got to this toppy spot that we had back in August of 22, and it's had a really tough go to get through here. It's kind of where we've stalled out here. So yeah, we'll see what happens if bonds come down, like we saw in yields. If the yields kind of find their support levels and start to push higher, I mean, obviously bonds will start to drop. Bond prices will start to drop again. We'll see. I think that might be a good bet as well, because we've seen yields drop off pretty good amount. LQD, kind of like I was just talking about, we saw a pretty good reversal of some of these bond prices. LQD, TLT, I can tell you they reversed pretty good. We did come snag this high back from February of 23, but we did not close above it. So it's an interesting one, and wouldn't be surprised if we went a little bit lower. TLT also has that huge upper wick as well, just like that LQD. Snagged that high from December. So this is a pretty good, support and resistance type zone. We tried to move through the zone on Friday, and we did not hold it. So probably move lower. We'll see if moving averages as they come up kind of help support and push it up through the middle part of September. All right, even the IYT was actually doing somewhat okay. The transportation ETF was doing okay to start the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, but just wound up dropping off Thursday, Friday. So not looking great, especially with that jobs day that we got Friday. Looking like it's going to roll over. So we saw a pretty good amount of bearishness across a lot of the markets throughout the week. So if we start to see declining like that on the Qs, that would be one where I want to see what the SPY does. If we then start to see obviously the SPY goes higher, makes a new all-time high, and then starts to just kind of flatten out and do that when the Qs were, when the Qs are doing this. I think that's gonna be a pretty significant sign. So I just kind of wanted to show you that because that was something that we were kind of talking about 2 weeks ago on a Monday on the live stream, and it was kind of talking about some of the scenarios that we've had go on over the past 2 weeks. I thought they would happen a little bit over the next few months, or the possibility of that happening over the next few months, but it is one that maybe we did see that pattern play out already, and kind of talked about that a little bit in last week's market outlook in the weekly video, but we did get that a little bit of that uptrend. Excuse me. We did get that uptrend to all-time highs there on the RSP. And I'll come back and run through all these, and we got that lower move there on the Qs. While we did get that sideways move on the SPY, that was the scenario in which I was kind of alluding to that we just saw, that if we saw that, I would probably be more willing to change my tone. I thought we would see a little bit more market price action, and maybe maybe that scenario play out a little bit later on, maybe like towards the end of September, October or something like that. But with the significant turnover that we saw this week, I mean, we weren't really seeing. I mean, you saw the intraday for the week to start out in the video. We did not see much bullishness throughout the week. It was kind of just any little pops were kind of just faded, especially there Wednesday and Thursday until we got to Friday, and that non-farms payroll number just absolutely awful. So what's really going to kind of stink here is on the RSP, and I wanted to see how it closed Friday. Well, we have what a lot of people are going to say is a false breakout. So we look at it on Friday, we look at a weekly, and that weekly candle looks very horrible. This looks like a Morningstar reversal over the past 3 weeks, and it looks like a false breakout as well. Now, the one thing that you could say is, well, we are sitting right on top of that 10 EMA on a weekly, and that's probably going to be another reason why I don't think we'll see crazy bearishness this next week. Even if we do see an early week pop and then we see like second half of the week selling, I don't think it'll be crazy that we'll see like a huge bearishness week over week. Nothing like what we saw this week. This week we were down 3% there on the RSP. With that being said, I'm not really wanting to throw in the bullish towel quite yet, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be willing to pull that trigger if we continue to see some weakness, because I think it'll probably happen in a hurry if we continue to do that. Anyways, it is an interesting time. Here's a look at the DIA. DIA can also have a false breakout. Nice little close last Friday, but this week just crushed lower. So a lot of people are going to be talking a lot about these false breakouts on some of these ETFs and stuff over the past couple of weeks. Look at the IWM. Nice little drop here in the IWM this week. Not really even tech heavy here, but this thing got hit pretty hard. Qs. Take a look at the Qs. Qs got absolutely wrecked. Qs were down 3% on Tuesday, and they were down 2.7% on Friday, and they were basically just kind of didn't do really anything on Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, kind of like a 5% down week, a little bit more than a 5% down week there on the Q. So that just does not look good. And I'd be curious to see if maybe we do bounce off this 449 level here on the Qs. Maybe we get a run back higher, and then maybe we drop off, see if something like that does happen. I was really surprised that this pattern kind of played out across the RSP, Qs, and SPY as well as it did, but two as quickly as it did. I was really kind of shocked at that. But if we do continue to roll lower, I think we would have a lot farther to go. I'd be cautious. If we get a pretty good run, if we start to get a pretty good run this next week, I would be looking for like exit points. And that's probably what I would be looking for more than anything else. I would be looking for good exit points. And SPY, SPY. It's never good when you end a week at like a weekly high or kind of just the way we ended last week, and then you come out the next week, we gap down and we just trade lower. Because that happened back over here when we topped out back in mid-July, right? We got that Tuesday high, and I get it. That wasn't a Friday, but Tuesday high, closed at the high, and then the next day we kind of just gap down, we just trade lower, and then you can see how much lower we went there for the next couple of weeks. So shorter term, I mean, maybe we do come all the way back down. I doubt it. Just my personal opinion. I mean, I doubt it. I think we'll see a little bit more consolidation up here. Maybe one more little bounce, and then maybe like roll over. But yeah, if that was kind of the top, I really was kind of surprised the way we ended last Friday. We didn't go up to all-time highs, kind of flatten out a little bit more and come down. But all you can do is adjust to what the market does. You can't tell the market what to do. So Alpha Hunters, it is football season. Enjoy the football, and we'll see what goes on next week. But if we start to bounce early next week, I might just be looking for exit points. Have a great weekend. Take care, Alpha Hunters.